Talent Presents, folks. Today we are going to cover very important topic, okay? And this has been requested by one of the user on YouTube. So you have seen that multiple dashboards we have created on our channel. First is HR dashboard. Okay, again it is in work in progress. So we have only created 2 videos so far. Then later on we have added a 9 Excel functions, okay, which save your time. Last but not the least, which is your beginner level pivot table. Okay, so how we can use a pivot table, how we can summarize that data. If in case you have a raw data set, how you can get insights out of it. Okay, so on that, okay, we got very nice response on that. Okay, and on YouTube itself we have seen that multiple people really liked it when we went live, right? And there only we got this query from this one of the user. Okay, so the username is this. Okay, I can show you on the screen. Okay, and the query was very simple. Okay, and it is not that we will not able to make it. It's very simple. So I'll just read it out over here since it is already reflecting on the screen. Again, I'll speak it out. Okay, over here. Can you create a video explaining how sales, paddy purchases, and inventory are managed in rice mill? True. And how gross profit, net profit, revenue, COGS, and OPEX, which is operating expense, okay, are calculated from that specific data. Cool. So we acknowledge that, and there was a query from the user or maybe our fan from YouTube, right? So which is really appreciated, and we acknowledge that fact, right? So we gonna create that since we have already spoken on our YouTube channel itself. Okay, if in case you feel us to cover any kind of a data set, like be it your public safety, health domain, right? Supply chain, okay, or maybe networking, or maybe any kind of call center data. You want us to create that any kind of a dashboard analysis, you just have to simply press the comment in your section, which this guy did it. Okay, so yeah, we acknowledge that, and having said that, we have created that explaining insights driven dashboard over here. Okay, very easy, very smooth. So here we just wanted to tell you that we don't have a data set given by this specific user, so no need to worry. What we have did, we have used a three raw tabs over here inside this entire video series, and we have did a analysis basis the requirement what he need, what he can do, or maybe the viewers who are looking out for a similar kind of an ask, right? So what they can do, just check a columns specific to their requirement, right? And they just have to plug in their values there and simply create a dashboard. Very simple task to do. You can take a pause in between, okay, wherever you wish to take a pause, take a screenshot of the formulas, you can take it, okay, and understand the importance of that dashboard. Okay, so why we are using pivot table, why we are cleaning that data, okay, why we are adding a slices, and last but not the least, what is the importance of data visualization. Okay, you can understand that. So this is how we have created very simple dashboard driven data insights in the rice mill form. Okay, so I hope you will enjoy this video series, and please don't skip the video in between. Okay, again we have kept this video in a lesson wise with time frame. Just scroll it down at the bottom. Okay, in the YouTube section itself you can just check the timeline if it is introduction, formulas, or maybe the charts. Okay, and the last but not the least, the dashboard one. Cool. So you can analyze that, and basis that only you can play this video and learn it. Well, if in case, again, last request before I begin, if in case you want this data sets to be downloaded, okay, just comment in below section, I need this data on YouTube section again. Okay, if you are commenting on YouTube section, I need this data, will provide you this data set free of cost. You don't have to pay any kind of a single cost. Okay, simply just say, I need this data set. We are happy to provide you then and there. And so without further ado, let's quickly start.
Welcome back to Discover Talent. Let me just quickly give you the 3 tabs explanation over here. So we have purchases, we have sales, and then we have a OPEX over here, right? Purchases when we buy a paddy, okay, here. Sales is basically when we sell rice, and then OPEX here, operating expenses like wages and electricity. Cool. All values are in quintals and currency. We will verify totals and then summarize by month. Okay. So first what we have to do in purchase tab here, let's click on Control T first. Okay. I'll just simply press Control T over here. Okay, as soon as we press Control T, we get this pop-up called create a table. Okay, and then we'll say this my table has a headers, and I'll simply hit on OK button. Okay, we can rename this as well here. Suppose I will say this as a purchases table. So purchase table like this. So this is the renaming I'm doing over here at the top. You can see, right? Repeat the same step for sales as well. Okay, here I will simply click here, and then we'll do the same thing, Control T, and then like this. Here I will call this as a sales table. Cool. Now slowly steadily I'll move ahead and check on this option. We'll press Control T over here. Again I'll hit OK. Here we'll say OPEX table like this, and I'll hit at the right hand side. So once we done with this, let's check here formatting if it's really needed. Okay, so here I can see in the date section there is a formatting needed. So I'll simply click here home, and then we'll click on this short date option. Okay, and then amount I'll change this to rupees. Okay, like this. I'm just changing a formatting over here. Likewise, we'll check over here, and then we'll click on this option again. Okay, and here again we'll click here, and then a short date. Likewise, we'll apply it for purchases as well. Click here, short date. Okay, and then total purchases is like this. So double click over here. So per bundle is like this. Formatting we have applied over here for purchases, sales, and OPEX over here. Convert ranges to tables, so Excel can auto expand the formulas and stay dynamic. I'm also formatting the dates, money to avoid more confusion. Okay, click here, right? To check that, what we can do, I'll just delete this particular value. I'll just click here. This plus C2 over here into D2, and then I'll hit enter. So I get a formula over here. So it's a formula driven value here. Likewise, we'll apply it for the sales tab as well. Here I will just delete this particular value, whatever value we have added over here. And then since it's a rate, I'll just again change this formatting to, and I'll simply click here C2, which is this, and then into this like this. Okay, you will get a values like this. Great. You can directly press a C2 and then D2 as well, or maybe you can directly just select this particular range, and then you will get a values like this. Okay, if in case you are directly using a table, that time you can see this text has been shown at the top, right? However, when we simply type like a cell, okay, so cell range like this, result is the same, of naming convention would be the different when we are using a table, right? So now let's move ahead, sort by date ascending in all three tables. Okay, what we have to do, we have to just sort it, which means here I just simply click here, oldest to newest. Again I click here, oldest to newest, oldest to newest. Okay, and we'll double check if in case there are blanks available in the entries, because data cleaning is very much needed whenever we are working in the large data set. Okay, so always we have to remember data cleaning should be accurate, and if in case anything blanks, any errors, or maybe value, or maybe division errors, we have to remove those. Okay, or maybe if in case we can diagnose that, or maybe we can resolve those, we have to resolve those then and there. Cool. If in case any duplicate has been added, we just have to simply select here data, and then there is an option called remove duplicate over here, right? So I'll just select this again and click on this option, remove duplicate, and I'll hit OK. There is no duplicate. Okay, again I'll click here, remove duplicate. Again there is a no duplicate, so these are the values are unique we have. Simply select this and then remove duplicate like this. Okay, so there are no duplicates values available. So why we check this kind of a data? So clean data is always help us whenever we apply a formulas, right? So double calculation can be avoided with the help of this. Okay, so that's what we are using this. Okay, so we always have to clean our data this as a month, and then here in purchase table I will say is equal to this. Okay, and then I'll hit enter over here. Okay, so basically I got this value as it is added over here. I'll simply select this control 1 over here. Here in the number format, I click on this option called custom. Okay, in custom I will simply say this month and then year like this, and I'll hit enter button over here. Right, so we got 8 months available over here. You can also do it in the another different way. Okay, if in case you really want it, what we have to do, just say you have added a month over here like this. Okay, you just have to simply say EO month, and then you will just simply select this comma 0, and then simply hit a enter button. Okay, you will get a format like this. Select this control 1 format here, and in this particular format you just have to simply press this 3 and then y. Okay, if in case you want a entire years to be shown, okay, just press 4 times y and then hit OK. You will get a result then and there. Okay, here if you could see we have added a same formatting, right? Here also we have did the same thing. Okay, so you can do it in the two ways. Simply month columns will make grouping easy in SUMIFS and pivot tables. Okay, so that's what we're adding this month table. Now build the report sheet. Okay, so to build a report sheet, what we have to do, we have to add a new sheet over here. To insert a new sheet, what we have to do, simply click here plus in the worksheet and then just move this and call this as a report. Okay, simply called it this as a report, and I'll just right click over here because this is very important for me. So I'll simply right click and then change this to yellow color, right? Because we are working on this specific report now. I will call this as a revenue for total sales. Okay, and I'll hit enter button. In B2, I will call this is equal to sum. Okay, and in sales, which is this overall selection, I will do E2 to until E41. Okay, so E1 to until E41 you can do it, or maybe you just have to simply select this entire range, close the bracket and hit enter button. So revenue total sales is so and so amount. OGS COGS purchases. Okay, because we want purchases, I'll bracket open, simply add a purchases over here, bracket close, and sum over here. Okay, in the purchase tab, just get this selection done like this, bracket close, and I'll hit enter. Okay, so this is the value what we got over here. Now in A4, I have this gross profit. I'll simply add this the gross profit over here, and here I will say B2, which is my this minus my this specific value. Good, so I got this gross profit over here. Now in A5, here I will call this as a OPEX, and here it's a very important step, folks. Okay, don't skip it. Simply say is equal to sum OPEX, which is this specific tab. Okay, and then selection you have to do it like this. Okay, bracket close, and I'll hit simply enter button. Okay, so I got this OPEX added over here. Now net operating profit, which is A6, I will call this as a net operating profit over here, and I'll simply say B4, which is this, minus my B5, which is this. Cool. So I got this value added over here. Okay. So it's a very simple task to do, to add it. Now, what we have to do, always remember, we have to format this in a currency format if it is not done already. Since our formatting is already done in this specific total, okay, sales, purchases, and OPEX. So that's what we are getting this value added over here with formatting. If in case not, then what you have to do, simply press Ctrl 1 and then you have to change the formatting over here. Okay. Cool. So I just skip it now. This formula gives us a total for a whole period. Revenue sum of total sales. Okay. COGS is equal to sum of total purchases. Gross profit is equal to revenue minus COGS. Okay. Net profit is gross profit minus OPEX. Okay. Whatever value we have available on the screen. Okay. I'll just zoom in. Okay. So this is the value over here. Now suppose I want to check this as a monthly data over here. Okay, that time what I can do, I'll just simply say 01 like this. Then we'll say this is the date over here, or maybe this is the date over here. I'll call this as a 2023 instead of only 2 digits. Okay, here I will say this is a YYY and then I'll hit enter like this. So this is the overall month-wise date for me. Likewise, we'll do it for this our own requirement. Okay, so we'll just make a changes over here, very slight changes, and once it is done, I'll just drag it like this, month-wise data over here. Okay, simply insert this until December. Okay, so simply I have inserted this particular values over here. Now in B9, I will call this as a revenue. Okay, and in C9 we'll call this as a COGS. It is a OPEX simply, and in E9 we'll call this as a gross profit. Okay, so this is the overall month-wise details we are calculating over here now. Okay, we'll just make this arrangement later on part. First, for now, we'll just adjust these columns, and once it is done, we'll simply look at the formula over here. Okay, and what I'm gonna do over here is I'll just say this is equal to SUMIFS, and in SUMIFS we'll say sales, which is this. Okay, and here we'll say E2, which is this, until E41. Okay, so range will be automatically get selected, comma, again the sales we have to copy this, simply paste it over here. This time we'll say A2 to until A41, which is like this. Okay, and here we'll call this as a comma, and then criteria would be like this, greater than, equal to. Okay, double inverted comma once again, ampersand and sign over here, and here will this call this as a A10, this as a A10, comma, once again we'll paste the same value. Okay, which is A2 to A41, and here comma, double inverted comma, lesser than, double inverted comma, ampersand, and we'll say EO month. This is the formula. And then here we'll say this percentage sign, which is A10 again, comma 0, bracket close, plus 1. Okay. And then after 1, we have to close this bracket. Okay. So before we hit enter, what we have to do, we have to just freeze this. If we do it, press function key and F4 from your keyboard. Okay. Simply like this. And this is like this. Simply apply it here as well, like this, and simply here as well. Okay. Always remember, you are applying this everywhere, like this. Cool. And once it is done, just make sure that you're applied everywhere, wherever it's really needed. I'll just delete this again, double click. Good. So now it is applied. And once it is applied, what you have to do, simply hit a enter button. Okay, you get this specific value over here. Just drag it like this at the bottom, and I got this specific value over here. Okay, so if I go over here and check these values, okay, so November, December, we don't have the data set available, so that's what we are not getting a value available. Cool. So let me just quickly add a rest of the others values as well, and then at the end we'll explain the formula. Okay, so why we have added that. Good. So here as well we have to apply a SUMIFS, and then here in the purchases tab, good, we have to simply select a E2, which is this, and then let's say E41, because we have a 40 entries over here. When we include a headers, that time we get this numbers as a 41. So that's what we have added as a 41 over here, comma, will again select the same. I'll just copy this instead of just double click on this purchases tab and then work on that. Simply just copy this and paste it over here. Okay, and here also the same thing, A2 to until A41. Okay, comma, here double inverted comma, greater than, equal to. Okay, we'll press this ampersand and let's say this A10 over here. For now we are just adding this formula, okay, as it is, and then later on we'll just freeze those wherever it's really required. Just copy this and paste this instead. You can take a pause of it, okay, and you can take a screenshot of this specific formulas and you can apply it in your own and learn it based on your own requirement, folks. Okay, so comma again, and here we'll just call this as a double inverted comma, lesser than, and then let's say ampersand and EO month, which is this A10 over here, comma 0 plus 1. Okay, bracket close. So we have this formula ready. Okay, so last step again, what we have applied there, we have applied function key F4. So we have to just simply apply that again, function key F4. Why I'm saying function key F4? Because majority laptops we have observed that, okay, not everybody's F4 is directly working. Otherwise they have to use it Alt F4 or maybe sometimes function key Alt F4. Okay, so that's what I'm saying, function key F4 in your keyboard. Good. So I'm just freezing this specific value over here. This again F4, and then here just freeze this A. Okay, again this as well. Select this properly, F4. Okay, here as well the same thing. Correct. Then simply hit enter button. Okay, and then you just have to simply drag it at the bottom. Great. So again, we just have a data entries until October. So that's the reason we are getting a values until this. If in case we have a more entries for November and December, those values will get added over here. Again, we'll show you that as well. Okay. So let's now calculate a OPEX over here. Okay. So here we'll again say SUMIFS, and I'll click on this option called OPEX. Simply scroll up from my mouse and I'll say C2, and here we have a range. It's different. Okay, in this time we have a range different, so we have 201. Okay, so this is the range for this specific data set. If you want this data, okay, feel free to drop your comment in below section. We'll provide you with this data set. Okay, so you can practice it, because learn by doing activity will help us to understand this OPEX, those kind of a calculation. Cool. So just drop your comment, need this data on YouTube. Okay, so we'll help you out in terms of data set, free of cost. Again, there is no charge. Cool. So now let's move ahead and simply copy this again and paste it over here. This time what we gonna do, we just call this A2 like this, and here we'll say this as a A201. Good. Comma. Okay, so once it is done, again the same thing which we have applied earlier, we are just gonna apply it over here as well. Ampersand over here, and then let's say A10. Okay, comma. We'll apply a same formula, which is this, and paste it over here. Good. So once it is done, just say comma, and here we'll just simply add a ampersand and EO month, and here we'll say this as a 10. Okay, oops, the formula is missing, so let me just click on this close button. A10 and comma 0 over here, bracket close, plus sign, okay, 1. Phew. So finally it is done, but we are half the way around. Function key F4. Let's select this again. Function key F4 3 times. Okay. So here I will simply press again. Okay. So it's 1 time only, and here again the 3 times. Well, so this is how we have applied a formula over here. And once it is done, okay, we just have to revalidate. Again, I always say revalidate. The reason behind is whenever we miss any single formula, okay, we will save your lot of time. Okay, so and remove your lot of stress. Okay, so because that's what I'm saying again and again, validate your formula whenever you are typing it in the MS Excel. Okay, so this is how the formula added, and then we'll hit enter over here, and simply we'll insert this specific formula at the bottom. Cool. So now let's say this is very simple, gross profit. Okay, we'll just say this B10 minus your C10, which is this. This is your gross, and I got this specific result, and then this is equal to E10, which is this, minus your D10 OPEX, and then boom, there we go. Cool. So now there is a catch. Okay, so once we add this specific values in the currencies, it will look like this. Great. So if I press Control 1 over here, okay, so there is an option in currency. we can simply select this specific option, okay, the red one, negative numbers, and I'll hit enter button. You just have to simply format your data, okay, in MS Excel. It's a very simple task to do. Select this, centralize this, bold, okay, and we'll just apply this specific thing and adjust it. Good. And let's say this is the overall calculation, and here we'll call this as a this bold, and here again we'll use a simple plain color, which is this. If in case you want here also the same pattern, you just have to simply select this, control 1, and in here negative number like this. If in case there are negative numbers, it will automatically get calculated, okay. And here I'll apply formatting like this. Great. So this is how the value works and the our report works. Cool. So what exactly SUMIFS did? Okay, so SUMIFS lets us sum a column based on a date range for each month. We then compute gross profit and net profit per month. Okay. Now let's pivot sales by month and customer. So in sales table, I'll click on this option, sales table. Click on any cell, okay, any of the cell you can simply click. Simply on insert, pivot table, and then from table data range. Okay, so this is the sales what I got it over here. And I'll press over here new. Okay, so this is the new overall structure for me. And I'll just drag it like this. Okay. If in case you are not really sure how pivot table works, then no need to worry. We have already created one series for you. Okay, folks. So you can just go there, watch our pivot table series, how exactly it works pivot table. Okay, if in case you are a new, okay, so you can just learn that pivot table. Cool. So I'm not gonna explain that much particular part in the beginner skill because we already covered the pivot table. Great. So now what I'm gonna do over here is simply rows. Here in rows, I'll just add a date like this. Okay. And then here I just want a, suppose your data is looking like this. Okay, ungroup. Data is looking like this. What you have to do, just right click over here, group. And in the group, you simply have to select month and years. And I'll hit a enter button. So you will get a data like this. So this will be an overall summary of your specific data. Okay, so you can work like this for your data, and then total sales will add in the sum. Cool. And once it is done, and if in case you wish to check a customer wise data, then you can simply add these customers into a column. So you will get a overall detailed level information for your customers. Okay, for now we'll keep this as it is. It is add, what I'm gonna do over here is I'll simply add a column chart. Okay, insert, click here, and column chart like this. Okay, you can choose this, or maybe this. Okay, I'll simply select this, and this is the detailed level information I have it. Pivot shows the monthly sales, and we can also compare customers grouping by month at one simple click. I'll just do a control X over here, and I'll go into a report section, close this, let's zoom out and paste it over here. Cool. Now here I can do a arrangements. Okay, I'll simply delete this. Just right click, hide all, and then this specific value I can just format this and keep it at the bottom. Great. And if in case this grid lines you want in a vertical form, you can keep this in vertical form. Okay, so this is how the data looks like. Since we are not really sure what exactly this data means, what you can do over here is simply add a chart title. Okay, so here I will just call this as a monthly sales. like this. Okay, so this is how the data will look like. And if in case you want to play with your changes with the data, like if in case you need a changes in the design tab, you can just change with your color coding. Okay, basis the scheme what you belong to, which means if in case your company follows any specific color code, okay, so you can check that color code gradient basis your own requirement, you can just apply it. For now I'll just choose this, and here only there are multiple options available. I'll simply choose any one and keep it as it is, and I don't really require this, so I'll just delete this again. Those grid lines, I'll turn that off. Great, so this is the monthly sales I got over here. Same goes with purchases. Okay, here I'll click on this purchases, any of the cell. Again, click on this pivot table. This time I'll click on this existing worksheet, select this and hit OK. Simply arrange this basis the requirement what you need, which means in the purchases section, okay, what we gonna do in this specific section, what we can simply do over here is, suppose we want a suppliers in row. Okay, so we can add a suppliers over here, sum of total supplies, sum of total purchases. So this will be a sum of total your purchases, and then simply sort by descending sum. Okay, so if in case we wish to sort it like this, we can do it largest to smallest. So this is how the sorting can be done. Okay, and then simply click here, recommended chart, and this time we'll add this as a pie chart, or maybe donut, or maybe you can choose your own. Okay, it is not that restricted, you have to always choose column chart only. If in case it looks fine for your designing skill, okay, so you can choose that. Otherwise you can choose as per your own convenience. Okay, so I'll pick this, okay, because I find this useful, so I'll just simply pick this. If in case you're not really happy with this, again, okay, you just have to simply go here, recommended chart. I'll simply select this pie chart is good for me. I'll just select this, and here we'll turn this data label on. And again, if in case I want to showcase more options, I'll just say this percentage as well, and we'll close this for now because I don't really require for now. Just right click over here, format legend, and keep it at the bottom. Okay, it's not really required. And then just right click over here, hide all. Just do a Control X from this, just go to the report section and paste it over here. Close this, move this. Cool. Adjust this graphs and requirement. Okay, and here we can check the whatever design we have applied over here. So this design we have applied style 6. Okay, simply select this. Here also we'll apply a style 6 over here. Okay, which looks like this, which is not really a good design according to me, so I'll simply select this. Okay, and I think this is a style 5 only. Okay, it is not a style 6. Data labels, if you want this to be shown at the outside, yeah, so outside looks fine. And here we'll call this as a top suppliers by purchase value. Okay, so I will just call this as a top suppliers by purchase value. Cool, so this is how we have added this chart as well this time. Now we see where is the most of our spend goes. Okay, this helps in negotiation with suppliers. Okay, so you can check over here, 41% is over here, which means your supplier B, right? This is the color code, and if in case you want to check it like this, you can do it like this as well. Okay, so complete your call how you want to present this to our data. Okay, and you can see the list one is 29%, which is your, again, the supplier A, which is this. Good, so yeah, this is the top suppliers by purchase by value. Great. Now if I go over here in the OPEX by category, Okay, here I'll add again the new pivot table and existing worksheet over here, and here simply select this time this specific range, and I'll hit a enter button. So this will help me to show a specific pivot table fields, okay, only specific to OPEX. Great. Now we have this OPEX table available over here. Now what I'm gonna do over here is I'll just add a expenses type in a row, which is this, and total sum of amount, which is this, in the values. Cool. So this is how the table will look like for me. And in the insert, again I'll click here, and this time I will just double check what chart will be the best chart for me. Okay, either this chart, okay, or maybe any other chart. This time I'll just select this donut chart. Let's see how it looks. Okay, and just right click over here, hide all, and this one again will keep this in a bottom only. Right click, mouse is pretty acting weird, so that's what it's taking some time. So yeah, this is how it is. And just do a, before we do a control X, okay, I'll just do a data label over here, and simply more options. We'll call this as a middle, okay. Custom angle, if in case you wish to change that specific angle, okay, so you can do that as well. I don't really require that, so I'll just keep this as a 0 only, okay, and I'm okay with this. If in case you wish to add that, you can add that, otherwise it is okay. I'll keep it this as it is. Let's do a control X over here, and let's go to the report section and paste it over here. Cool. So yeah, this is been pasted over here. Again, what was the style chart we have chosen at the top? We have chosen this table chart style 5, right? So this is the 5. Great. And if in case you see this designs, okay, so yeah, you can call this as in percentage as well. That is also fine. But I don't really happy with this specific design. Okay, so what I'm gonna do over here is I'll just simply change this, change chart type. We'll change this to this and hit OK. Great. So I got this. Okay, so this pie chart helps me and gives me the correct result instead of that donut chart. And here I will call this as a OPEX breakdown. Yeah. So OPEX breakdown. Cool. So lovely design. Okay, so and it gives me the overall glance about this data. Okay, so expenses by category show where we can optimize wages, electricity, transport, okay, etc., which is your packaging and maintenance. Cool. So this is how the overall glance is given. Cool. So now let's create one sheet, okay, which is called a dashboard. So report is already there, so we'll call this as a dashboard, and this dashboard, we'll change this color, or maybe yeah, we'll just say dashboard, or you can call this as a quick view as well, because sometimes we call this as a quick view. Okay, and we'll just say control and then control X, and then paste it over here. Oh, so we got this data over here. I'll just select this, arrange it at the top like this, and we'll make sure that this view section, right, this grid lines had turned off. Okay, so I get this overall blank is like this. Cool. So yeah, I'm happy with this for now. To insert few of the lines at the top. Okay, so I'll just insert it like this, and here we'll call this as a, first I'll insert like this. Okay, this is the overall title like this. We'll close this outline because outline is not really required for here. for now the data explanation part is important. So I've just simply added that, and here we'll insert this box inside this. Okay, so inside this, what I'm gonna do over here is just say this double click is equal to, let's see it is works. Okay, and in the B2 revenue, okay, so in report tab I'll simply click on this B2, which is this. Okay, and I'll hit a enter button. So once it is done, it will show me like this. Good. So it will look like something this. I'll arrange it. Okay, and at the top I will mention that as well. Okay, so what it is all about, just simply press this Control C Control V. Control C Control V again. We just have to add a simple alignment as per the, we just have to simply give the reference later on. Okay, first we have to add this. C Control V again. Now what? Okay, so once it is done, what we have to do, B2, let's say, always remember you are freezing this. Okay, so Control F4 and then here B3 and then hit enter. So let's double check if the value is coming up. Okay, so B3137 is this. Yeah, so value is coming in, and we'll close this. Okay, and again here as well, what we need B3. Now it's a B4. Okay, hit enter. B5, which is this. Okay, and here we'll call this as a B6. Perfect. So now what we have to do, we have to just freeze this. F4, hit, press F4 again. Okay, in your case maybe you can press function key F4. Okay, now I think my F4 is working fine. Okay, so I'm not pressing a function key, just simply pressing a F4. Cool. So this is the overall arrangement I have did over here. We can make a group. Okay, later on part, it's completely your call how you want to keep it. And then I'll just simply select this, change this color, more fill color, and we'll just make it lightweight like this. Okay, apply it here, here. Cool. So I'm just applying a color over here and then same formatting like this. Great. And once it is done, so I just press here and group it. This group, get this again, group it. Make a group always, because whenever we move that shape, right, those will not really work. So if I move it like this now, this will work. Good. So I'm just arranging this specific KPI cards for now, because for dashboards it really useful to check this KPI cards. Yeah. And now what it is all about. Okay, so you just have to mention that as well, because without that it will not really help what exactly we are talking about. Okay, so ensure that we are mentioning that as well. So how we gonna explain? Revenue total sales, I just simply copy this, insert. Okay, and I'll paste on the text box like this. Just paste it. Make it small. Okay, paste it over here. Copy, paste again. We just have to paste the value later on. You just have to first copy and paste the overall space whatever we are creating that object, right? Just copy and paste simply. paste again here as well. Great. So we have added this specific KPI cards over here, and what we want this COGS purchases over here, and here if I go over here, just Control V, okay, copy this, Control A, Control V, cool, and then this is my OPEX, Control A, Control V, copy this again, Control A, Control V. Perfect. So this is how we have added this. Okay. If in case you wish to make this as a zoom, you can do that as well in the later on part. But for now, we just have to arrange this. And wherever your pivot tables are available, which means this, you have to create a slices from here. Okay. This is the supplier, and I'll hit a enter button. Okay. And just paste it over here. These two buttons, supplier, and then this is your customer. Okay, if in case you wish to insert a timeline, okay, you can insert that as well. That is complete your call how you want to keep it. Here I'll simply select this again, and this time I'll select a timeline month wise, and I'll hit a enter, Control X, paste it. Okay, and here we'll just keep it like this and drag it like this. So whenever we add a new entries, okay, those will get added over here automatically.
Report tab, what we have to add? We have to add a further calculation called margins, average and quick inventory logic. Okay, to do that, what we have to do, simply click here in report section. There is a one cell called A8 over here, right? So we'll simply type gross margin percentage. I'll type this gross margin, and then we'll add this as a symbol, gross margin percentage over here, and we'll simply add a if function over here. Cool. We'll call b2, okay, is equal to 0, then show me a 0, otherwise, okay, b4, which is this, divide by your b2, bracket close, and I simply hit a enter button. Okay, I got this result then and there. Cool. Now first we'll add one by one the formula over here. Okay, and then we'll simply click on the percentage symbol. Cool. In A9 we'll simply add a net margin percentage, which is this now, and here we'll again add a if function, which is this, which is your logical function. B2 is equal to 0 comma 0 again, comma, here B6, which is this, divide by your B2, bracket close, hit enter. Okay, so this is the one of the result what we got over here. Now I'll simply press A12 over here, and we'll simply add a quantity purchased. Cool. So before we add purchased, let me just add a quantity sold over here. Quinton. So Quinton is basically QTN over here. So Quinton I have added over here, and we'll simply add a sum. Okay, here we'll call this a sales. Okay, so this specific column over here will select a C2, which is this quantity sold quantity, and then this is our overall total. So I'll just simply select this, bracket close, and I'll hit a enter button. Okay, so this is the overall quantity sold Quinton. Cool. So simply once it is done, what we have to do, we have to do it for a quantity purchased in this as well. Purchased Quinton. So once it is done, we simply have to add a sum function over here. Again, simply click on this purchase tab. Okay, in purchase we have Quentin available over here. Simply select this all, okay, and hit a enter button. Okay, so we got this result over here. Cool. And now we need a selling rate as well. Okay, to calculate that, again we have to insert over here. So I'll just do a insertion like this, and in here this specific column itself I will say average selling rate, which is this. Okay, and then here I will say average purchase rate. Okay, so this is the rate I'm going to add it over here. So first we'll start with a average purchase. So we'll just say average over here. This is the average function for me. In purchase, I'll go at the top, select this specific column, bracket close, hit enter. Likewise for selling rate as well, average, select this, go at the top, select this, bracket close, hit enter. Cool. Let me just change this to specific currency. Cool. And in this we'll simply add a percentage like this. Great. So since we are good with this kind of a formatting, simply select this. Okay, I'll apply it like this and this as well. Okay, but if you carefully observe over here, this formatting has been changed over here. So simply select this again. You will get a formatting as it was previously, right? So again, I'll just simply apply this formatting over here. Great. So this is how we have added a specific values yield over here in MS Excel. So what I'm going to do over here is I'll just simply do a control X and keep it at the this specific range. Perfect. And then I'll just arrange it like this. So this is my report. Okay, overall report, and showing. Let me just add any of the logo or maybe any icon over here. This will give me the visually appealing, very nice visual. So that's what I'm doing it over here. Simply I will add a truck. Okay, so suppose I'm adding this kind of a truck over here as a supply chain. So I'll just simply select this. You can add your own company logo if you really need it. I've simply added this kind of a logo over here. This kind of a logo over here, folks. And then what I'm gonna do over here is simply add a one more shape, which is this kind of a shape, and here I will just drag this. Cool. And once it is done, you just have to simply click here, click 6 point, and in shape click on no fill. Cool. So this is how the beautifully it looks like, how the dashboard looks like. Okay, if in case you want this specific table, okay, this specific values to be shown in the chart, okay, simply select any of the value like this and go into insert tab, and then you can simply add this kind of charts over. And that's it. Today you learn how to turn raw data into insights, totals, monthly trends with SUMIFS and interactive dashboards, okay, which we have shown you over here. Cool. With pure tables. If this helps, feel free to drop your comment in below section, and also please like, subscribe to Discover Talent. I'm Vinod, signing off for the day, and see you in the next class. Thanks for watching. Have a great day ahead.